In our everyday life, movement is not unexceptional. We move from one place to the other regardless of what the outcome may be. We move to and fro by different means, either by foot, car, or other sources. Everyone has his or her own preferences. In the archaic era, camel, horses, and other animals served as a source of transportation. Even in some countries now, cars and other sources of transport were implemented. Many are those who walk by foot, being a student or so ever. Many are those who bought car and other sources. Car is now dominant in most of the countries as far as transport is concerned. In a country like Togo, car and motorcycles compete in terms of transportation. They transport people from one place to the other. That is main markets, workplaces. But car dominates in terms of transportation in Winneba, the central region of Ghana. The big question is, what role does drivers play in terms of transportation? We're going to have an exclusive interview with a taxi driver who happens to be in the University of Education, Winneba.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, what's your name?
My name is Asari Besidapa.
I learned you are a taxi driver who drives taxis around.
Yeah, I'm a taxi driver and a student as well.
Is it by profession or is it by your own way of doing something?
Well, it should be a profession because it is a way through which I earn a living. So it's definitely a profession. Something I do.
So as you drive along, probably you may have an expectation. Maybe when you drive along, you expect something at the end of it. So what are your expectations as a taxi driver when you go out to drive?
Okay, my expectations are not as much as those who drive from morning to evening because as a student I have three things to do academic-wise, assignments, test papers to write. So when I set off to work as a taxi driver, what I do is I try to get the money for fuel, some for maintenance, that will be my profit. Unlike those who drive from morning to evening, who have to make a daily sales and get their extra pocket money.
So does that really work for you as you expect?
Well, it does because I've been doing that for almost a year now.
So how do you blend schooling or studying with the taxi driver? How do you cope with that?
It's a difficult combination because even when you are not having lectures, you need to keep behind and read a lot of things. But then, we are in Ghana, and then depending on your source of income, there are many things you have to do extra so that you'll be able to make up some money. Now I do this because that is the only way I'm able to make some money aside being a sculptor as well. So sculpture brings contracts that you have to work on, but then at times they don't come as you expect them. So the taxi driving gives me an extra money.
So along the line, maybe you are driving at the course of the day and happen to study, like having lecture. So how do you do it? Do you have a specific time that you drive to earn your living?
Okay, mostly my lectures are on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then Wednesdays, if maybe the Tuesday or Monday lecture we organize on Wednesday. So I don't normally drive on Mondays and Tuesdays. What I do is I drive from Wednesdays to Saturdays, from morning to around 12 or 1 in the afternoon.
And for me, I had an experience where I travel outside, not being Ghana here, Togo. And what I noticed was there is this kind of competition between taxi drivers and then motorcyclists. They do compete in terms of transportation. Have you also had an experience going outside, like traveling before?
Well, I've been to Togo twice, but not as a taxi driver. I went to Togo to buy a few things and then I happened to join a motor. Yeah. So the experience is quite different over there, even though it's for a short period of time.
So in terms of competition, do you see such thing like motorcyclists and then taxi drivers competing?
You know, the motor thing is not common in Ghana, except for a few places in Accra. And then when you go to Sokokope and some other parts of the world, really you see motor over there. But for Winneba per se, there's nothing as such over here. Now, comparing that situation you saw in Togo, I think the motorists are there because there is traffic. You see, and one person would like to move very fast. That is when you have a schedule and then you need to meet up some time. So you need to pick a motor so that it gets to your place as fast as possible. On the contrary, safety-wise, it is not advisable to sit on a motor. I don't like motorbikes because when you're going to get an accident with a motorbike, it's so fatal compared to the car.
So along the line, when you see drivers in Togo, how they do take their passengers, I saw that they take more than as we do in Ghana here. Some will sit two in front, four at the back. And in Ghana here, such things doesn't happen. So with this, do you think they will make more money out of their driving than you in Ghana here?
You know, the driver's assets, the driver's money is found from the customers or his passengers. If they are able to take more passengers, they means more money for them. But for here in Ghana, you know, there are strict laws put in place which are supposed to check and regulate the number of passengers you even to allow in your car at a particular point in time. As a result of that, it affects insurance and other things as well. So if you are to take more than the required number, it is at your own risk. You either lose your insurance should anything happen to the car, or the police will apprehend you when they find you doing such a thing.
So do we have a law in Ghana that you shouldn't take more than this number?
Yes, they are in the traffic regulations. It is there. That for commercial drivers, it is there. And you know, every car has a maximum number is supposed to pick at every time. When you look at the yellow part of every taxi, especially the front part, there is a small part where they write the number of persons, the gross weight, and then the address of the owner of the car. It is even written on every commercial vehicle, the number of persons you are supposed to be.
So do you have that located in your car as we speak?
Oh yes.
Alongside when you are driving, what are some of the challenges you come across?
Especially in Winneba, it's quite different to every other town. The business booms when students are around. I'm talking about when school resumes, the regular students are around, and then they take up a larger population of students on campus. So when they are in town, the business booms, especially in the first 3 weeks. You have a lot of students with heavy luggages, picking up their bags here and there, picking them up. Oh, we always say I need dropping. Yeah, that's the term we use in Ghana. I need dropping from the house, this hostel to that hostel, moving my things up and down, and then it fetches a lot of money. You can make over 200 cedis a day for about 2 weeks. Yes. So, even though it comes with a little challenge, you may experience falls. Yeah, you may experience a few faults from the weight you carry at times. You have to pack a lot of luggage, and then it affects the car. Yeah.
And the point in time where someone board your taxi and then the amount that he or she's supposed to pay and your expectation, do you react? What do you do?
It's difficult. You here, for instance, they charge 1 cedi 50 pesos in town, any distance in town, except when the person is going to Winneba Junction, and on campus it's 1 cedi. But you find someone who will try to stop a taxi in town. Driver, may call her Misika 1 cedi. Meaning, I'm going here, instead of paying 150, I'm going to give you 1 cedi. You have no choice but to take the money. At times when you're angry or when you found the amount of money you want for the thing, you can choose to forget about the person. But then when you are looking for an amount, perhaps I want to get 60 Ghana cedis today out of driving, and I have just 25 cedis, and someone stops me without consent, I won't support that. But if I'm around 58 cedis and you just 2 cedis, I'll just move on.
Yeah, for me, sometimes when I try doing such thing, I see that the drivers are being wicked. So, from your perspective now, what you just explained tells me that not all times that a taxi driver may accept your 1 cedi instead of 1 cedi. So, do you drive in the evening? Have you ever driven to somewhere evening time before?
Well, I drive in the evening, but not often. I do that when there are some programs in town where people will be moving up and down. Then I'll do that for about 2-3 hours and I go back home.
What's your specific time? 9, 10? Do you have?
Perhaps from 9 to around 10 or 8 to 11. So it depends. It depends on the demand at that time. Yeah. And if I'm tired, I don't drive.
But do you have any challenges whilst you drive in the evening? Do you have such challenges?
The problem is there are a lot of taxis around, there are a lot of students around, there are a lot of people in town. So you need to drive defensively. That is one basic thing. Or else you're going to encounter a lot of problems. Hitting someone off the street, which will bring in a lot of financial loss. I mean, taking the person to hospital and other things you're supposed to do. Driving defensively. So
you've never had an accident where you hit someone down and then you're supposed to bear that cost?
Oh no, ever since I started driving as a taxi driver, I've never experienced anything.
Then I can say from your point of view that you are someone who is experienced in driving. Can I say that?
Well, experience is experience. I would say is based on two things. One, practicing for a very long time, and two, having adequate knowledge. I've not driven for a long time. I've driven just beyond a year now, but I've not knocked down anyone. What I do is I always read. I read about driving. I watch a lot of videos, and then as a student, that's giving me that opportunity to research and then learn a few things that a normal driving school will not teach you. So it gives me that extra touch. Yeah.
So, pertaining all these kind of challenges you've been facing, do you come up with a remedy to this all?
You cannot control the way someone drives, but as I said earlier, when you drive defensively, that is always the best. Yeah.
So you think driving defensively will help you escape danger, match that other drivers? So what are some of your advice to other colleague drivers out there, if you may like to advise them on how they drive and all that?
As the saying goes, knowledge is power. When we seek knowledge, it is always going to help us do what we do best. So I would say our advice colleague drivers to always learn about what they do, and it's going to help us. And then at least these road accidents which are on the rampage will reduce as well.
So to our colleague drivers, you have already heard, you have to drive safely and to obey rules, and then you read and then you learn more so that you know much about the road safety. So with that, what changes you when you became a driver? Maybe you have been changed whilst you were driving. You were not the first person you were.
Driving has brought a lot of changes. Added some value to my life. I've been a little more humble. I've been a little more patient. And I've got to understand life from a different perspective. What I also say is that you understand the way people behave from another perspective. Let me explain that. For example, students on campus don't really respect taxi drivers because they think they are the only people in university. The taxi drivers have little knowledge as compared to them. The taxi drivers don't even understand simple English. So what I do at times is that when I find a group of students entering my taxi and then they are discussing academic issues, and I also begin to speak English, and then, hey, now so I'm a student just like you. That's what I do, and then we talk, and then you see they become happy getting to know that, well, there's a university student who is also a taxi driver. At times some of them will just insult you, talk to you anyhow, and then you have to accept it like that. You don't always have to reveal your identity. So it has made me a little more humble.
So to the taxi drivers out there, you shouldn't be that furious or nervous whenever a passenger does something to you, maybe in a sort of insult. You just have to be patient with them, and then you go your way. It will really help you. Thank you very much.